Hi, I am Attila. I'm the founder of agency carestaff.co.uk website, which is a business directory for nursing agencies and home care providers in the UK. Welcome to episode 5 of my podcast. Today I have another guest. Can you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, so Will Draper. I am Healthcare and Commercial Director of the Shaw Group. Our head office is based in Hull in East Yorkshire. And I'm down here today to talk to you around the healthcare market, home care and agency support.
How is business, William?
So business has been good for the past few years. The Shaw Group has been in existence for the past 5 years now. We've operated a healthcare division, Shaw Healthcare, for the past 4 years. That started off initially purely as agency and labour support, so ad hoc staff support for residential and nursing homes. And more recently, we have achieved our CQC accreditation back in 2018. So we've kind of evolved that business to not only being a labour supplier, but now being a healthcare provider in its own right as a home care division.
Okay, I didn't know that. I didn't know that you provide home care as well.
Yeah, so a recent addition. We spent a number of years sort of perfecting our compliance as we were supporting residential and nursing homes, and saw a gap in the market for a smaller, more boutique feel agency that could give that extra bit of quality as opposed to the higher, more volume driven providers.
Okay, so what areas do you cover as a home care provider in UK?
So purely as a home care provider, we are trialling this and pushing forward in the Hull area to begin with. So we are now working for both local councils in that area. The Shaw Group as a whole also runs an office based out of Wakefield and Northampton. Mm-hmm. So our goal is for 2020 to take our home care division and mirror it into the Wakefield office and into the Northampton office, which is the same as what we've done with our residential divisions from the previous years.
Oh, that's excellent. I'm sure you're gonna do it.
Tough times ahead, but we'll get there with it.
Yeah. So when did you start the business, actually, the Shaw Group? So
the business was started by Charles Draper, that was back in 2014, and that was initially on a warehousing and heavy goods driving basis. And then as the years have gone on, we've morphed and diversified into different sectors to spread our risk, essentially, and also become a lot more diverse and a lot broader as a company. So we started off in Hull, and then as the years have gone on, we've added divisions, Wakefield, Northampton, as I've said, and gone into broader fields. So healthcare was a particularly strong area for what we wanted to move into. You've got warehousing and driving, which is volume driven, and sometimes can be foreseen as a bums on seat approach to our customers, where the healthcare side of things is a very different kettle of fish, really. You've got a lot more passion involved with it. If a shift doesn't get hit, it's not just a trailer that doesn't get delivered or a package that isn't put into the warehouse correctly. It's someone's actual personal care that isn't being delivered. So it's a very different type of recruitment.
Okay. So speaking about healthcare, can you please tell me, I'm asking you because a lot of people are asking me this type of questions. How do you find your clients?
Right, so the business development side of things. Two ways, really. The ad hoc shift selling is slightly easier. Door knocking is certainly one of the ways that we got started in this business. I don't think cold calling gives a fair opportunity for anyone to get an impression of who you are or the service that you're selling, but certainly sort of cold calling, knocking on the door type appeal. If the manager or the care home that you're approaching is in need of occasional ad hoc support, then they'll entertain the conversation with you if you make the right impression. And you can actually provide what you say you can provide, then there's usually an opportunity there to follow. That's how we got started in the ad hoc cover. And then in terms of longevity, building up contracts and relationships, that was really just after demonstrating what we could do and having a long-term impact on that customer's business.
And after that, as you said earlier, the word of mouth kicks in. You have a few clients, and then probably they will recommend you. But cold calling, I agree with you. Not a lot of people like that anymore.
It's hard to get past reception sometimes on that front.
That's it, yeah. Okay, William, can you give me a quick intro about what Shore Group does?
Yeah, so the Shore Group actually operates as 4 individual companies. So the first company that was started by my brother Charles is Shore Staffing, and that always had its roots in heavy goods vehicle driver supply and warehousing staff and labour. And then as we progressed, we moved into the various different types of recruitment. So we specialised in Shore Healthcare, the residential and nursing support. We then moved into Shore Logistics. So we went along the lines of, if we could provide a company with a lorry driver, could we have the ability to provide them with the whole transport solution? So we now have a fleet of Class 1 Arctic vehicles based in the Wakefield area, and we moved for a number of different distributors, supermarket chains, etc. And then we also run a company called Shore Commercial, which runs all of the permanent placement side of our business. It's a nice little cross-sell side of the business, which when we're providing, say, warehousing staff to a warehousing or dock facility, they may turn around and ask us who can provide the receptionist for the maternity cover, or who can fill our accountancy role. And of course, they've already got a relationship with us as a business, and it just flows very nicely that we have a commercial department which will field all of their permanent recruitment needs. The same happens for our healthcare providers. Not only do we provide seniors and healthcare assistants, but when perhaps a senior manager is needed, or a deputy manager within one of the care homes, we've placed a number of those recently for a supported living facility based out of Doncaster. Okay. So we've really kind of encompassed the 360 and broken it down into specialist niches.
So how many staff do you have in your healthcare division?
So in the healthcare division, we payroll around 75 to 100 staff per week. The majority of those are based or come through the Hull office, and then we have a contingent staff in the Northampton and Wakefield offices. But our bulk main focus in Hull is the healthcare side of things. Okay.
And what type of care settings do you support? Can you support nursing homes, hospitals? Are you specialized in any healthcare sector?
So we started off initially just covering residential homes, and then grew as the complexity moved up. What we do now is we work with a number of specialised supported living companies, charities mainly, who have 24-hour care requirements, where our staff need to have quite complex training needs, MAPA training, safeguarding, etc. And that's where our sweet spot has become recently. So we still cover all the residential and nursing homes, but supported living charities has been interesting for us for the past 6 months.
Okay, yeah, interesting. We're gonna go a bit deeper into the business environment. Can you tell me more? As a nursing agency, is it difficult these days? What about the competition? Would you advise somebody to start a nursing agency? Can you please?
Yeah, it's always a difficult one. People always use the word agency, and it's something that I am trying to differentiate our branch away from slightly, because I think as you get called agency and staffing agency, you can always get tarred with the same brush as some of the cowboys out there, or some of the labour providers. It's something that we need to sort of move away from. I always make the introduction these days as a healthcare provider. We have healthcare trained staff, we have trainers in the business, we provide home care. By all accounts, we're that healthcare provider as opposed to just being a staffing agency, albeit that's a big part of what we do. There is stiff competition. One of the reasons that we initially moved into it was it felt like there was less competition in the healthcare market compared to a warehousing or a driving point of view, which I think is still true, but by no means is it an open market. There's still high barriers of entry, a lot of compliance that needs to get right, and there's still a lot of companies out there doing a similar role. And it's if to start and get started on this journey, you've got to figure out what is that USP point that you're going to bring to the market, what's going to differentiate you to another care agency or healthcare provider. And I think you've got to figure that bit out before you make a decision.
Okay, so I get a ton of visitors on an article I have about starting a care agency. So the article is on the first page of Google. I also get emails from people asking for help. For example, they want to know how to start a care agency. They need information about that. What is the minimum budget to start a nursing agency? What do you reckon?
So what's the minimum budget? I suppose you can start one in a few different ways. I know the franchise option is very popular with a number of people. It's not something that I've ever looked down to, but I imagine the amount of capital you'd need to buy into the franchise in the first place would be sizable. In terms of what do you need to grow from an organic point of view, I suppose I've listened to people's stories who've started with themselves being the carer and acted as that care agency and almost sold themselves out into these shifts. If you're going to go down from a base level organic point of view, you only need enough funds in the bank to be able to float a carer's wages for a number of weeks until your invoice gets paid, and then you've got that small markup on top, I suppose. So if somebody wants to start, as you said, organically, without an office, maybe from home, do you think a laptop, a website will be enough for them? Yeah, and a lot of drive behind it. You've got to make sure you understand the market that you're getting into. You've got to understand the compliance side of things. And, it is possible to start something like this from a laptop and a bedroom, but if you don't do it with your research incomplete...
That's it. High chances that you'll fail. So... as I said, a lot of visitors on that blog, a lot of people asking, but I believe maybe 1% will actually take action. Where are all the nurses?
Good question. Very difficult to find, but when you do get hold of one, I suppose it's important that you hold on to that particular nurse. Difficult. We've tried recruiting nurses directly, indirectly. We have canvassed hospital canteens with flyers. We have launched Facebook ads. We have parked advertising trailers at GP surgeries. We've tried a few different things. It's a difficult one. If I had the answer, I suppose we would have a lot more of those in our books and would have a very different business today. But yeah, there's definitely a shortage in this country of trained, qualified, passionate nurses. And yeah, let's hope that the numbers keep building.
I came in UK in 2010. We always had a shortage of nurses, well, at least since I'm here. But really in 2017 it really started to be more and more visible. It's they're very hard to find. A lot of people are saying that they're all working with agencies, it's more money. But I know a case when somebody had to call 7 nursing agencies to find a nurse. I think, if they're all working with the nursing agencies and you're calling 7 of them and nobody can cover, that's why I ask you.
Yeah, there's an evident problem there, isn't there? Look, I don't think the profession is paid enough for what the role is. It's long hours, it's very hard labour, and the skill set and the training that you have to go through now to become that registered nurse it's not a short career path. It's got to be something you've got to be invested into for a long time. And I don't think we regard nurses in this country with as much with as much respect as what the career deserves.
Okay, and to go for uni is quite expensive as well. That doesn't help, I believe.
No, the financial cost of balancing a work life to pay for utilities, etc., whilst going to university to study, then picking up work placements to be able to use those skills, and I think it's a hard career path.
Yeah, you're working with nurses and you supply nurses.
Yes, we have a handful of nurses on our books. Not a great number, I'll gladly admit, as you say, the problem. I'm also fortunate enough to be married to a nurse, so
Okay.
I also have a bit of a background from that side of it, so I understand more so the years of hard work that she's had to put into this to be able to become a registered nurse in the first place.
Are you familiar with the language exam they have to pass in order to obtain the PIN number from NMC?
In terms of people coming into the UK, and
Yes.
no, it's not something that I've had any background in. I know we have a number of nurses who have come in from mainland Europe and working on our agency at the moment, and they tell me that as they come over to the UK, that the pay gap, the pay difference from what they was getting paid in their home country to here is enormous.
It is. It's quite a big topic now. I have a lot of friends everywhere in UK, and especially nurses. But you have nurses coming from EU, and in order to obtain their PIN number, they have to pass the IELTS test, which, from what they are telling me, and what I've seen on Facebook groups, it's almost impossible to pass, and that's a big problem. Where can people find you, on social media or?
Yeah, so we have a presence on social media. Our website is the best place to start. We're shaw-healthcare.co.uk, and emailing us that, it comes through to all of our inboxes in our various offices, and we'll make sure someone gets back to you ASAP. If you know of any nurses who are looking for jobs in the area, then absolutely, we are recruiting all the time.
Do you have referral schemes?
Yeah, so a lot of our, certainly from a healthcare assistant and a senior healthcare assistant point of view, for all of our teams, we run a refer a friend scheme. So we are offering £50 for every person that one of our core members of staff recommend to us. That's then joined on by a £50 joining bonus to our agency for all incoming healthcare assistants and seniors. And we're trying to use that as it's an incentive scheme to come and try out what employment with our agency is like, because I know the healthcare assistants and the seniors, that I know that the population is out there, but giving them a reason to move into employment with us when they may be very well comfortable in their own position and their own employers, I think they need a reason to move and explore different options. And if that's something that we can do to try and move people into our favour, then we can convince them once they've started why we're a great option to be partnered with. Then that's what we do.
William, thanks for popping in. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. It was a great pleasure to have you as a guest. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Attila. It's been fun.